Hello, today I'm doing a video on Mission Red Planet. This is a game I got from my Board Game Geek Secret Santa this year. So I had never played it before. It was on my wish list. I guess the second edition came out in 2015. I guess back then I had seen some reviews on it that were pretty positive, so put it on my wish list probably back then in 2015, and hadn't thought about it too much since, but my Secret Santa did send me this. I played it yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and do a setup and how to play video and then give you a few thoughts on it. Alright, first thing you do is you got to assemble the game board. I don't know why they didn't just make a real board instead of this puzzle piece kind of thing, and it kind of messes up right there taking it apart and put it together. So I would prefer a real game board than this puzzle piece thing, but there we go, got the board assembled. Take the Phobos and Lost in Space Memorial and place them on either side of the board. Next, you'll construct the launch pad using these dock pieces depending on the number of players you're going to have. You're always going to use the right piece and left piece, and then put in a number of middle pieces depending on how many players. I'm going to be doing a 3-player game, so I've got a launch pad set up for 3 there. You'll set these destination tokens within reach of all players. You'll separate the point tokens by type. You've got ice, which is worth 1 point. Sylvanite tokens that are worth 2 points, and Solarium tokens that are worth 3 points each. You'll then set the Ice Monopoly Global Mission card near the supply somewhere. You'll then shuffle the ship cards, place it near the launch pad, and place 1 card in each launch pad slot of the launch pad. Kind of hard to do this one-handed. There we go. Actually, I need to slide that down a little bit. Had to move it down a little bit from the planet because when these launch, you got to be able to slide them up like that. If one of the cards we had drawn to set up the game was an unknown destination, you would just shuffle that back into the deck and draw a new one. You make sure all the ones you get have destination names on them. If none of the starting ships you've drawn have the Phobos destination, then you find a Phobos destination token and place it on the rightmost ship in the dock. Each player will choose a color. He'll gather all the astronauts of that color and the character deck of that color, which consists of 9 cards. So I'm going to be playing with blue, green, and orange. You'll gather 1 astronaut from each player and randomly select one and start placing them on the ships. So let's see what we get here. Alright, we got orange, green, and blue will go there. The leftmost player becomes the first player and takes the round tracker and make sure it's set to 1. You'll get your resource tokens, kind of shuffle them up, randomly place 1 on each section of Mars. You'll place 1 in each section of Mars. Each named section. and one will go on Phobos, and I missed this one. There'll be one left over, and you just put that in the supply. You'll take your deck of mission cards, shuffle it up, deal 2 to each player. Each player will then look at those cards, choose one, and return the other one to the mission deck. Alright, I've done that for each player. Now you're supposed to keep these missions face down, hidden from the other players, so only you know what your mission is. And it doesn't really matter for me since I'm playing solo, but then you take the remaining mission deck with the cards you put back and what was still there, and shuffle them into your deck with your discovery and action cards. This will create your event deck, which you just place somewhere near the board. And that is set up. We're all ready to play. Alright, so how do we play? Well, game is played over a series of rounds, as indicated by this turn tracker, the numbered rounds. And then every once in a while, in between the numbered rounds, you'll have a phase, which we'll talk about. You got different production phases, revealed discovery phase, and final scoring phase. But otherwise, you're just playing a normal round. So we'll talk about the different phases later, but let's talk about how the normal rounds go. So at the beginning of each round, each player will choose one of their character cards. Now all players' cards are the same. They've got the same 9 cards with the same, characters and effects. So each player will secretly choose which character card they're going to play this round and place it face down in front of them, like so. Once all players have chosen their card and put it face down in front of them, then the first player, which is the player that has the turn tracker, or round tracker, I guess is the appropriate name. The first player, the player that has the round tracker, will begin counting down to blast off. So they'll start with 9. So any player that has played card 9 will reveal it and show that they've got card 9, and they'll resolve its effects. If 2 players both played the same card number when it comes to them, the players will resolve their cards in turn order, clockwise turn order, starting with the first player if he played the same number. But if not, then you just go in number of cards. So again, first player will start counting down 9. Anybody had card 9, they would reveal it. Then 8. If anybody had card 8, they would reveal it. 7, 6, 5, 4, so forth. So when we got to 4, this player would then reveal his card and carry out its effects. Of course, the card numbers you can see are here, and they're all numbered 1 through 9. So let's talk about each card and its effects when you resolve it. So card number 1, you can place a total of 2 astronauts in 1 or 2 docked ships. So remember, the ships here in the docking port are docked. So with this card, you could place 1 or 2, a total of 2 of your astronauts in 1 or 2 docked ships. So you can take 2 from your supply, put them both in 1 or in 2 different, if I could stand them up, docked ships. Now, one thing about these ship cards is first they show the area that they're going to land at, and your astronauts will be deployed when the ship launches. They also show a capacity total number of astronauts that they can hold. So this one can hold 3 astronauts, this one can hold 3 astronauts, this one can hold 2. Once it's at its capacity, no more astronauts can be in there, and they'll launch, and when they launch, they'll move up. Now, they won't launch until the card that's being played currently by the current player, until his card is fully resolved. Once his card is fully resolved, then any ships that are at capacity will launch. So again, back to this card, the pilot, you can place a total of 2 astronauts or 1 or 2 docked ships and place a destination token on one ship, either docked or launched. So if you wanted to change the destination that one of these ships is going to, you can choose one of these destination tokens and put it here to change where this ship is going to. And you can even do that if one already has a destination token on, like this one does. You can put another one on top of it to change its destination. And this card lets you do it even if the ship is launched. So if the previous player had put this ship at capacity and it launched, you could still change it. According to this card, you could still change its destination. And remember, the destination is really where your astronauts are going to unload on Mars or on Phobos. Alright, let's look at card number 2, the soldier. Place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. So we already talked about, you take an astronaut from your supply, put it in one docked ship that's not at capacity, and kill 1 astronaut on Phobos, which remember is up here, or an outer zone of Mars. Now, any of the zones that are on the outside, connect to the outside edge of Mars, or the outer zone. There's only 2 zones that are not an outer zone. That's this one, Valles Marineris, and Syrtis Major. So you can kill 1 astronaut on Phobos or an outer zone of Mars. Now you can kill an opponent's astronaut, or you can even kill one of your own astronauts if you have a reason to do that. And when you kill an astronaut, another player's or your own, you just take it off the board and it comes over here to the Lost in Space Memorial token, or whatever that is. Alright, back to this. So you can kill somebody and then move up to your 3 of your astronauts from Phobos to any zone on Mars. So if you had astronauts here on Phobos, you can move up to 3 of them to any zone. You could move them to the same zone, or put them in different zones. It says to any zone or zones in Mars. So you'd be moving them from up to 3 of them from Phobos to different or same zones in Mars. Alright, let's check card 3, the travel agent. Place 3 astronauts in the same docked ship. If there is not at least 1 docked ship with room for 3 or more astronauts, ignore this effect. So, as it says, you can place 3 of your astronauts in 1 docked ship. But in this case, like in the beginning of the game, with this having a capacity of 3 and this one only 2, there's no docked ship with room for 3 astronauts. So, since it says if there is no ship with the room for at least 3 or more astronauts, ignore this effect. So basically, your turn, you would resolve nothing on your turn with this card if you played it and there was no room to put at least 3 astronauts in 1 ship. So that one's kind of a little tricky. You got to make sure that there's going to be a ship with room for 3 astronauts, otherwise you just wasted your turn. Alright, let's look at card number 4. So it lets you place 1 astronaut in a docked ship, which we've already talked about that. And in 1 zone or ship where you have at least 1 astronaut, you can replace 1 opponent's astronaut with 1 of your astronauts. So you can do that if you have an astronaut here on this zone and your opponent has an astronaut. You can replace their astronaut with yours, and when this effect is resolved, the replaced astronaut goes to the Lost in Space Memorial. And you can do that either on a zone on Mars or Phobos, or you can do it on a docked ship, or you can do it on a launched ship. But again, you have to have at least 1 of your astronauts in the same zone or ship as the opponent's astronaut that you're replacing. So that's number 4. Number 5, the Saboteur. Place one astronaut in a docked ship. Again, we know what that does. And destroy one docked ship. Now, this one can be tricky because remember, you have to fully resolve this card before any ship that reached capacity is launched. So if you place an astronaut in a docked ship and it's the only docked ship, you then have to destroy that ship, so you'll end up losing your astronaut anyway. And you always have to fully resolve a card to the best of your ability. You can't decide, well, I'm just going to do part of it. You have to do all of it as best as you can. Now, like it may say place up to 3 astronauts, or so you don't have to do 3 because it says up to, but you always have to do as much as you can of the card. So again, this one could end up, if there was only one docked ship, you have to place one of your astronauts in it and then destroy it. So hopefully you wouldn't play that unless you're pretty certain there's going to be more than one docked ship. Alright, next we have the Secret Agent. Place a total of 2 astronauts in 2 different docked ships and force one ship that is not yet full to launch. So that's pretty self-explanatory. You can put 2 of your astronauts in 2 different docked ships, and if one ship is not at capacity yet, you can still force it to launch at this time, as normally they don't launch until they've reached capacity. Alright, next, number 7, the Scientist. Place a total of 2 astronauts in 1 or 2 docked ships, so we understand that already, and either draw 1 event card. Remember, we made an event deck that has mission cards that were not dealt to and kept by players. It also has discovery cards, which we haven't talked about yet, and action cards. So you can either draw 1 event card or look at a discovery card in play. And we haven't talked about discovery cards yet, but they'll get placed in outer zones, adjacent to outer zones here on Mars. And with this card, you could look at one of them. They're placed face down normally, so only the player that drew it knows what it is, but with this you could look at it and see what it is. So if you decide to draw an event card and it is a discovery, like this, then the player that drew it would read it, like this one, uneven ground. Treat each player who has an odd number of astronauts in this zone as having 0 astronauts, and it'll be resolved in the 3rd production phase, which is here at near the end of the game. So if you draw an event card and it's a discovery, the player that drew it chooses one zone, outer zone on Mars. Remember, there's only 2 that couldn't be affected by it, this one and this one. So if he chose maybe this one, Mare Serpentis, he puts it face down underneath there, and then it'll be resolved in the 3rd production phase. But he's the only one, the player that drew it is the only one that knows what it is, unless another player plays their Scientist, and then they can look at a discovery card that's in play. Now you can never, if somebody draws a discovery card, they can never replace one that's already there. Once it's placed, it stays there through the end of the game. It can't be replaced with another event card. The other type of event card you can draw is missions, which you remember at the beginning of the game each player got 1 mission. So let's just look at what a mission is. So for instance, this one that the blue player kept at the beginning of the game, if you have at least 1 astronaut on each of the red zones depicted here, then you'll gain 9 points at the end of the game. So when you're doing final scoring, you'd check if you had at least 1 astronaut in each of these zones on Mars. And if you do, you'll add 9 points to your score. So again, you can, if you're drawing an event card from playing the Scientist, then you can possibly draw other missions. And the other type of card is action card. So we'll look at one of those. If you drew this action card, surprise move, play this card after revealing discoveries. Remember, that's done in the reveal discoveries phase. So when that happens, you can play this card after you reveal the discoveries, which that's flipping over the discovery cards that players have placed over outer zones on Mars. Then you may make up to 2 moves on Mars with your astronauts. So let's talk about actually making moves with your astronauts on Mars. So when you make a move with your astronaut on Mars, you can move, for one move, you can move to an adjacent zone. So that card said you could make up to 2 moves, so maybe you could move one guy here and one guy here, or you can move the same guy twice. That would be 2 moves. 1, 2, you could move him over here. So that's what, when you're making moves, you move to adjacent zones. And again, you can make the number of moves that it says. So that could be moving different astronauts one, or one astronaut several moves. Alright, let's look at the next card, the Explorer. You can place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. We know how to do that. We've talked about that. And make up to 3 moves on Mars with your astronauts. Well, we just talked about making moves from that action event card. So again, with this card, that allows you to make moves. So you may want to do that if you have a group of astronauts in one zone and you want to spread some out to different zones. Then you would use the Explorer to move your astronauts around on Mars. And finally, the last card, number 9, the Recruiter. You can place 1 astronaut in a docked ship and return all your character cards to your hand. So we haven't gotten to that, but as you play these character cards each round, once they're played, they stay face up in your play area. So each round you have less number of available credit or character cards you can choose from. So whenever you play the number 9 card, that allows you to not only place 1 astronaut, but it allows you to recover all the cards you've played in previous rounds and put them back into your hand, making them available to you again the next round. So that's all the possible character cards you can choose. So again, each round, each player will choose a character card they're going to play that round, put it face down in front of them. Once all players have chosen their character card, then the first player will begin to count down to blast off, starting with 9. They'll say 9. If anybody's played card 9, they reveal it and resolve it. Then they go to 8, 7, 6, all the way down to 1 until all players have played their cards. Once everybody's played and resolved their cards, and again, after you've played and resolved your card, you leave it face up in your play area. It's not back in your hand, as we just talked about, so you have less cards available the next round to play. But once everybody's played and resolved their card, then we go to the land-launched ships phase of the round. So, say during that last round, this ship reached its capacity and it was launched. Now you're in the land-launched ships phase. So this one is going to mirror Turinum, or however you pronounce that. So you would take all the astronauts off this launch ship and place them here on Mare Turinum. Now, as soon as an astronaut is placed in a area, then you can reveal the resource token in that area, and it shows what resources will be produced in production phase. So this resource is ice, which is the lower value. They're only 1 point, but that's what will be produced in that area. So anytime an astronaut is placed in one of the areas, if it's got if the resource token is still flipped over to its hidden side, then you reveal it. After you've landed the astronauts from that launch ships, then you just place that ship in a discard pile. And then we go, after you've done that with all launch ships, then you draw a new docked ship. So you draw a new ship card and put it in the dock area. If you draw a ship with an unknown destination, other than during setup, which we talked about, then you would just shuffle that back in the deck. But thereafter, if you draw a ship with an unknown destination to go to dock. Then the first player who places an astronaut in that ship gets to choose a destination token and place it on that ship, and then that'll be the destination that that ship will go once it is launched. So after you've replaced your docked ships, then you assign the new first player. So the player who resolved their character card last, the last round, so basically whoever resolved the lowest character card, they then take the round tracker and their first player for the next round. And once they get it, then they advance the round. The round tracker arm up one to point to the next, onto the next notch to reveal the next round or phase, and then you start another round. Now, once you've played the first 5 phases or first 5 rounds, you'll get to this first production phase. So when you get to the first production phase, any area that has the resource token revealed will then produce one of that resource. So in this one, you'd produce 1 ice resource. In this area, you'd produce 1 selenium or solarium. And in this area you'd produce 1 ice. And in this area you'd produce 1 sylvanite. If the areas still have the resource token hidden, then nothing would be produced there. I keep calling these areas, but in the game they're actually called zones. So when I say area, I'm actually meaning a zone. And then once you've done all the production, the players then receive point tokens in those zones depending on the majority. So if you resolve this one first, green has the majority astronauts in that zone, so green would get this point token in his area, and that'll be 1 point for him at the end of the game. If you're tied for the number of resources, then you distribute it evenly if you can. So for instance here, where blue and green both have 1 astronaut, so they're tied, but there's only 1 resource in there, so it can't be distributed, so that resource would just stay there. If, for instance, later in the game there were, well, you wouldn't have a mixture, let me there were 3 resources in there, then if you have a tie, like in this case, each player, the green would receive 1 and blue would receive 1, and the remaining 1 would just stay there. And so in this one, blue would get this one, and in this one, because orange has the majority, he's the only one there, he would get this one. And again, this is worth 1 point at the end, this is worth 2 points, and this is worth 3 points at the end. So then you would play a few more regular rounds, then you'd get to this second production phase, and in that phase, each zone that's revealed produces 2 tokens in its area. Then you'd play a few more regular rounds. Then you get to the revealed discoveries phase. So in that phase, any discoveries that have been placed around outer zones of the board are resolved, and then are revealed, and then they'll state when their effect is resolved, either in that phase or in the third production phase or in the final scoring phase, just depending on what it says. But that's when they're revealed. Then you get to the third production phase, and each zone that's revealed produces 3 tokens of its type, and again distributed amongst the majority or tied for majority players in that zone. And then finally you get to the final scoring phase, at which point players will all reveal all the mission cards they have, determine if they completed them. If so, they'll get the points awarded by those cards. The global mission, whoever has the most ice tokens will get the global mission. If you have the most ice point tokens, then they'll get that, and they'll get a bonus 9 points. And so at that point, each player will add up all the points they got from tokens they collected, from their mission cards that they completed, and then you may have to add or subtract points depend on discoveries that were revealed. And whoever has the highest total number of points is the winner. If there's a tie, then the player with the highest number of point tokens collected, not the highest total value, but the highest number of point tokens, that's the tiebreaker, and they'll win. And if it's still a tie after that, then the tied players just share the victory. So that's it. It's a pretty easy game. I think I'm going to just kind of mix up those resource tokens again, and then we'll go through a few example turns. Alright, I've got the game back set up, so we should be ready to start. Orange was the first player, so we start the round. He's got the round tracker. So the first thing that happens every round is each player chooses what character card they're going to play that round. So we'll look at what Orange wants to do. Well, his mission, if he has the highest number of astronauts in both red zones, looks like Syrtis Major and Valles Marineris, then he'll gain 6 points at the end of the game. So one of these rockets that's docked, or ships that's docked, is going to Valles Marineris, so maybe he wants to get some astronauts on there. So we'll say he's going to play Femme Fatale, so he chooses that and puts it face down in his play area. Other players will do the same. Alright, so all players have chosen their character card they're going to play this round, and placed it face down in front of them. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn them face up, just because I'm playing solo, so I can see what each player played, but normally those would be face down in front of you. Then the first player starts counting down for blast off, so he says 9. Did anybody play 9? No. And he says 8. Did anybody play 8? No. So then he gets to 7. Then green here says, okay, 7, and he reveals his card and resolves it. So he gets to place a total of 2 astronauts in 1 or 2 docked ships. So he'll place 1 here and 1 here. Place total 2 in 1 or 2 docked, and either draw 1 event card or look at a discovery card and play. Well, he's going to draw an event card. So he looks at it. Oh, he got another mission. So this mission is if you have at least 1 astronaut in 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these zones, then at the end of the game he'll gain points depending on the number. If he has astronauts in 1 of those zones, he just gains 1 point. And if he has astronauts in all 4 of those zones, he'll gain 7. But again, that's scored at the end of the game. So he just puts that face down with his other mission cards. Alright, so he's fully resolved his. So now the first player goes back to counting down. 6. Well, nobody's played 6. 5. Nobody played 5. 4. Well, then first player reveals his card because he played the 4. He played the Femme Fatale, so he gets to place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. So he's going to place it here. And in 1 zone or ship where you have at least 1 astronaut, replace 1 opponent's astronaut with 1 of yours. Well, he's got an astronaut in here, and he's going to replace 1 of Green's with 1 of his. Now that replaced astronaut goes to the memorial, Lost in Space Memorial. And he's resolved his, so now he goes down to finish counting down. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1. Blue says that's what he played. So he gets to place a total of 2 astronauts in 1 or 2 docked ships. So he takes 2 of his astronauts, and he's going to place 1 in here and 1 in here. Now all these ships are at capacity, but he's got to finish. They don't launch yet because he's got to finish resolving his card. And placed a destination token on 1 ship, either docked or launched. So he's going to change the destination token. So this ship that he's got on going to Phobos, maybe he doesn't want to go there. He wants to go to Mediterranean. So he'll take a destination token and put it on there. And now that's fully resolved his card. And now all these ships are at capacity. Now actually this one got put at capacity during orange player's turn, so it should have actually launched then. But no harm, no foul, because blue player didn't do anything that affected that ship. But now he's finished resolving his card, and both of these ships are now at capacity. So this one's going to launch, and this one's going to launch. Alright, now all players have resolved their cards. So now we go to the land launch ship phase. So this one is going to put its astronauts in Mare Terrenum, which is here, and that's going to reveal this. And then this goes into the discard pile. This one's going to land its astronauts at Valles Marineris. And that's here, so that'll reveal its token. And now this ship will go into the discard pile. And finally, these two are going to go to Mare Terrenum also. And then these just get put back up here in the destination pile, and now this card gets discarded. Now we'll draw new docked ships. So we'll just draw as many as there are empty slots in the docking port, which is all 3 this turn. So we got new docked ships. Assign the new first player. Well, that goes to the player that played last in the round just completed, which was blue player. So now he takes the round tracker as signifying he's first player. And now he'll advance the round tracker. So we go to round 2. And now we start again with each player choosing one of the character cards they want to play. Now, you know, this time blue doesn't have card 1, green doesn't have card 7, and orange doesn't have card 4 available for them to play. So let's have them each choose a card. Alright, each player has chosen which card they're going to play and place it face down in front of them. Then first player, which is blue this time, starts at countdown 9. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal these cards just again since I'm playing solo, so I remember what everybody picked. So blue says 9, nobody picked 9. 8, nobody picked 8. 7, nobody picked 7. 6, nobody picked 6. 5, oh, orange says, alright, I played 5, so he reveals it. Place 1 astronaut in a docked ship and destroy 1 docked ship. So he's going to place, we'll just say he places 1 astronaut here, and then he destroys 1 docked ship. Now, that's not really going to harm anybody too bad right now because nobody's, he's not going to destroy the one he's in, and there's nobody in this one. But anyway, just limits the choices for the other players. If there were astronauts in that ship he destroyed, they would go up to the Lost in Space Memorial. But anyway, that's his turn. So now first player resumes his countdown. 4, nobody picked that. 3, oh, green says yes, that's me. He reveals his card. He gets to place 3 astronauts in the same docked ship. So he takes 3. And he's going to put them, he can't put them in here because 3 astronauts would overfill it, but this one has a capacity of 4. So he's going to put his 3 astronauts in there. And that's all there is to this card. If it just says if there is not at least 1 docked ship with room for 3, ignore this effect. But there was, so he got to put 3. Blue resumes his countdown. 2, that's him. He shows his card. Place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. He'll place 1. He'll go over here with orange. Because he doesn't want to be in, he'll land somewhere where he's definitely not going to be the majority since there's 3 green there, so he has a better chance of getting a majority going with the 1 orange here. But then he gets to kill 1 astronaut on Phobos or an outer zone of Mars. So The outer zone here, he's going to go ahead and kill. He'll kill this orange player, so he's going to go here. That's an outer zone. This one's an inner zone. He couldn't have killed anybody there. So kill outer zone of Mars and move up to 3 of your astronauts from Phobos to any zones on Mars. Well, he doesn't have any astronauts on Phobos, so that part of this card doesn't really help him at all. So anyway, he's done resolving his card. Any ships that are at capacity would launch. None of them are. So now we go on to the land launch ships. There's no launched ships to land. Then we go to the draw new docked ships. So we draw one new docked ship. It's got an unknown destination. Then we go to the assign the first player. That goes to the player that resolved their card last, which was blue player, so he just keeps it, the turn tracker, and remains first player. And now he advances the round to the next round, round 3. And all players will choose a card again. Again, now they have even fewer cards because they've played 2, so instead of 9 possible choices, they're down to 7 possible choices now. Alright, so all players have picked their card. First player, which is still blue, starts the countdown to blast off. Again, I'm going to go ahead and reveal these since I'm playing solo. Normally those would stay hidden until their countdown number is called. So blue calls out 9. Nobody played that. 8. Well, the orange player says yes, that's me. So he picks his. He played the explorer. Place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. So he's going to take one of his astronauts. He's going to put it in this docked ship, and since he's the first player to put one there, he gets to decide the destination. So he picks Syrtis Major as his destination. Alright, then he finishes resolving his card. Place 1 astronaut in a docked ship and make up to 3 moves on Mars with your astronauts. Well, he's only got 2 astronauts. He's just going to make 1 move and move it here, and since he moved there, he gets to reveal the resource there. And that's it. For his turn, none of the ships are at capacity, so they don't launch. So blue begins the countdown again. 7, nobody played that. 6, no. 5, no. 4, oh, that's blue, he played 4. Again, the femme fatale, so he gets to place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. So he'll place 1 here with orange. And then in 1 zone or ship where you have at least 1 astronaut, replace one of your opponent's astronauts with one of your own. So he's going to, he could do that in one of these ships, replace 1. And so that's what he's probably going to do. He's going to replace orange with his astronaut. The orange astronaut goes to the Lost in Space Memorial. And that's the end of his. There's still no ships at capacity, so no ship will launch. He'll resume the countdown. 3, no. 2, okay, green says yeah. 2, that's me. So he played the soldier, so he gets to place 1 astronaut in a docked ship. He's going to go ahead and place his in here to make it get to capacity. And then he gets to kill 1 astronaut on Phobos or an outer zone of Mars. So he's going to kill 1 of blue's. That's in the outer zone. It goes to the Lost in Space Memorial. And then he gets to move up to 3 of his astronauts from Phobos. He doesn't have any astronauts on Phobos. So he's finished resolving his card. So at this point, any ships at capacity will launch. That one is at capacity. It launches. These are still not. Now all players have resolved their cards. So now we go to the land launch ships. So these green players will land on Tritonus Sinus, which is right here in the middle. So that'll reveal this token, and this just goes over here. These are not full. Anyway, so that's we land launch ships. Now we draw a new card to dock there. Now we assign the new first player. That goes to green because he was the last one to play this last round. So he gets the first player token, and then he goes ahead and moves it up to the next round. I'm going to go ahead and just play ahead this round and the 5th round, and then when we get to the production phase, I'll come back and show that. Alright, I'm resolving the 5th round. I thought I'd go ahead and show this one just because 2 players picked the same card, and I want to show how that works. So the players have picked their character cards. Again, I've got them flipped up when normally they'd be flipped face down, but since I'm playing solo, I've got them flipped up. So the first player is orange. He's going to start counting out 9. Nobody has that. 8. Nobody has that. 7. Nobody has that. 6. Well, both green and orange reveal that they have 6. So to determine who gets to resolve their card first, it goes in turn order. So first player is orange, so he gets to resolve his first. So he did the secret agent, so he gets to place a total of 2 astronauts in 2 different docked ships. So he'll put one here and one here, and force one ship that is not yet full to launch. So we'll just say he's going to go ahead and force this one to launch that he just put somebody in. So he's resolved his. None of the other ships are full, so they won't launch. So now green gets to resolve his number 6. So he gets to do the same thing, place a total of 2 astronauts in 2 different docked ships. So he'll put one there and one there, and then force one ship that is not yet full to launch. Well, this one's full, so this one's not, so he's going to force it to launch. And now he's finished resolving his card, and because this ship is full, it now launches. Alright, so now he continues the countdown. 5, 4, 3. Well, blue says, well, I played 3, which is 3 as a travel agent's placed 3 astronauts in the same docked ship. Well, there's no docked ships, so blue kind of just wasted his turn there, so he doesn't get to do anything. So now we go to the land launch ships. So these guys will land in Asonia and reveal that token. This card gets discarded. This guy lands in Ausonia, and this one gets discarded, and these guys land in Tritonus Sinus, which is, here, and this card gets discarded. Alright, now we replace docked ships. And we assign the new first player, which is going to be blue, since he was the lowest card. He got to go last time. Now he's going to advance, and now we're in the production phase. So now we produce in all the areas that have revealed areas. So we just produce 1 token. So here we produce 1 ice. Here we produce 1 solarium. Here we produce 1 sylvanite. Here we produce 1 solarium. Here we produce 1 sylvanite. And I think that's it. So now the majority gets... So there's no majority here. It's a tie. They both have 2. So that token will just stay there. Here, oh, we forgot to produce a sylvanite here. Again, it's a tie, so nobody will get to take that token. Here, blue has the majority, so he gets to take that. Here, green has the majority, so he gets to take that. Here, green has the majority, so he gets to take that one. And here, green has the majority, so he gets to take that one. So green is really getting a pretty big head start here on the other guys. He's already got 6, 7, 8 points. He's only got 2, and orange got none. So that's the end of the production phase. Now, first player will go ahead and move this onto 6, and we go to the next round. So that'll keep going. Again, we'll get to this phase where each area will produce 2 tokens. Then you'll get to this reveal discoveries phase. And again, as we talked about in my rules overview, here at this point right now, there's no discoveries, but any players that had chosen to draw event cards, if they drew discoveries, so we get to once we get here to the reveal discoveries phase, all these discoveries that are here would be revealed. And again, they show here when they're actually going to take effect. So this one won't take effect till the 3rd production phase, but when you get to the 3rd production phase, which is going to be the very next phase, then each adjacent zone produces 1 additional point token. So this zone would produce 4 tokens, and this zone would produce 4 tokens if they were revealed and were going to produce. And then finally the last thing is final scoring, where you'll add up your total points from your tokens, from your missions you completed, and then the highest score wins. So I think that gives you a pretty good idea of how this game plays. Again, I've only played it once yesterday solo, so I think as with a lot of these games I described, this is one, since it's hidden information, choosing cards and not revealing them to what the other players until you reach your countdown, and hidden missions and such. This is really not a game that shines as a solo game. So with my one play, I can say I wasn't loving it as a solo game, but I can certainly see where this would be fun with other players. And it seems like it's a pretty quick game, and the rules are not complicated, so I think I can probably get my wife and daughter to give this a try, and then I'll have a better idea of how I feel about it overall. Again, after one solo play, I wasn't loving it, but again, it's definitely not made to be played solo, so I can see potential in this being fun with playing with other real players. Plays up to 6. I don't know, 6 seems like that might be a little much. I don't know, maybe 4 might be the sweet spot, but I really have no idea since I've only played it one time solo. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.